Hey, believe it or not, this is take 4. So I'm going to be, anyway, welcome to the midweek chat. You know, let's just say it's take 4. So if I'm a little loopy, I had various problems with the technology today, but more me than the technology. So, can you tell where I am? Famous Eau Claire area. We got the Chippewa River coming from there. We got the Eau Claire River coming from there. And so we call this the confluence, right? And if I twist the phone a little bit, if I make it like that, you can see the Pablo Center, Performing Arts. But I thought that that concrete, and we didn't need to see that concrete and steel, huh? So, is that nice? So a lot of, I don't see any tubers out today. That's usually where the tubers leave from, that Sandy Point, right there, and then float on down the Chippewa that way, right? No. You don't go upstream, you go downstream that way. It's hard to float upstream down to the Hobbs Ice Center. So I did that a few times this summer. It's nice. So it's a good spot. I took this spot because it's beautiful, but also because I needed to find a place that was sheltered from the heavy southerly wind today. There's maybe a change in weather coming, another day in the 80s here, summery weather, just 2 days away from autumnal, beginning of autumn, first day of fall, when the days and the nights are equal length, you know. So here I am. I got some parish news, some fun things that happened today. We started out the day, it was just great. It was Delilah, our first grader, was baptized, and she was ready for it. She was primed for it. We had one of those kind of kiddie pools that's about like that tall, and had a couple inches of water. Christine set that up, and Christine also prepared her for the baptism. So thanks, Christine, for that. And Mike Kolstad had built that nice wooden frame over it. So it's all beautiful. Easter candle up. You know, our other copper font was there, and it's good. And she was just beaming with smiles and everything. Her and her mom were practicing because she would step into the pool, and then we took water and we poured it over her head, like 3 big pitchers at a time, one at a time, but 3 times. And just a little precarious spot here on my feet. I'm trying to. Sorry. Okay. So she received it real well, and then she. You know, we had the water with that, and then we put the chrism oil on her head, and then it's time for the garment. And when you get all wet like that, you know, her sponsor Pauline was an excellent sponsor, went out and helped her change, and I had to fill time a little bit, so I was just talking to the children while they were changing about the symbols, what the 4 symbols of baptism are: the water, the oil, the garment, and the light. And they got the candle, but they didn't remember the garment. So I talked a little about the garment, how it's a symbol, the prayer that goes when you give someone the new garment. You say, "See in this outer garment the sign of your new inward Christian dignity, with your family and friends in this community to help you by word and example bring that dignity unstained into the everlasting life of heaven." Right? So it's beautiful. And so I said, so I'm not sure. I haven't seen what she's going to have for a new garment, but if it, you know, sometimes it's bright white or something, and we have a stole that we'll put over her with some Christian symbols on it, some outer garments. And while I was talking, they kind of turned around. People, they didn't turn around, but I could see they looked behind me at something that was impressive. You know, they were kind of like, so I turned around, and it was Delilah in this incredibly beautiful white dress and kind of head ribbon thing, and it's just lovely, you know. So it's nice to see her family make such a big deal out of her baptism today, because indeed it is a big deal. So that was good. Also precious in that mass today was the first reader, Nathan. He's a good reader. You could tell his teacher and probably his parents helped him prepare for today's proclamation, and he had the great reading from 1 Corinthians. You know, if I have all the things in the world, and if I speak with the tongue of angels, but I don't have love in my life, I'm nothing. I'm a noisy gong, a clanging cymbal. Love is patient, love is kind, love doesn't brood over injury. You know, all those things that love is, you know. There are 3 things that last: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love, right? So just to hear a 10-year-old proclaiming that so well is a beautiful thing, you know, because how many times, hopefully, you know, please God and praise God that he'll keep the faith. And I said, you know, maybe you'll be a priest someday, Nathan. Maybe you'll get married, maybe some other thing. Maybe you won't either, but maybe you'll get married, and maybe that'll be your first reading at your wedding. And if it is, I hope you remember when you were 10 and you read that, you know. But that's the way it is with baptism too. It's just it's an introduction to the faith. It's, you know, we grow all our lives trying to deepen our appreciation of the Word of God, the body and blood of Christ, our Eucharist, the meaning of life, serving one another, loving one another. It's a lifelong adventure that we travel together as church, trying to know God, experience God's love God back through our actions and our faith and our love. So and he did such a great job proclaiming it. So anyway, it was just, I really got the day off to a great start. So that's good. Let's see, some other parish news. I got staff agenda items mixed up with parish news here. I got to. So OCIA. So our, you know, beginning of a school year, we start thinking about OCIA. People that want to enter the process of becoming Catholic, or Catholics who haven't been confirmed but would like to be confirmed or fully initiated. Or this year, it's going to be a couple people that wanted to go through the process just to deepen their faith life and learn a little bit more about the church. I said, we're confirmed Catholics and everything, but I got to say, we don't really know that much about our faith, our worship, and everything. And so we want to go through that. Well, what are you going to say? No? I say, yeah, of course. How lovely. So maybe you're in that category. It'd be a good year for you to do that because you wouldn't be alone. Patrice said we have about between 5 and 10 people that are interested right now. So we'll see what that materializes. Patrice and Steve run that for us, and it's a fantastic program. They really give their heart and soul to it, and they follow in the able, spirited footsteps of Jackie, who ran the program until she retired a couple years ago, right? And so anyway, that's going on. If you or yourself would like to maybe enter, basically you meet on Sunday mornings between the masses. I think they usually go to 8 o'clock mass and they get dismissed after the homily, and then they meet in the parish office for an hour or so. So that's good. Patrice was also meeting with Ava and Pearl, and they had their first communions last week or 2 weeks ago. So that was really good. So a lot of good things going. A lot of our sacramental life, people getting initiated in the faith. If you'd like to maybe be a RCA sponsor, OCIA, it changed from Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults to the Order of Christian Initiation of Adults. So that's why I'm saying OCIA now. So yeah, so that's good. I heard that Jeff and Faith might be signing on to be wedding prep people. That'd be awesome. Thanks, you guys. We have the Bears, Kathy and Mike, and Joe and Judy Muir, and Tom and Jackie Bachmeyer that serve to help facilitate. There's an inventory, it's kind of a test you take when you're preparing to be married. It's a big questionnaire, and then it rates how you, based on your answers, how your areas of strength and your areas of weakness, and then you meet with a couple to interpret that and talk about that a little bit. And so these are the couples that do that. It's a great thing. When I meet with those before their weddings, and they've gone through that, they have nothing but positive things to say about their couples that they met with. So it's a beautiful service. Thank you for that. If anyone else thinks they might want to do that, the more the merrier. I think we'll start pushing. I don't know, last year I was going to make an effort to do this, and then I kind of forgot until it got to be too late. Kelly and Beth and Ari did a nice job of getting the students to make Advent wreaths. But sometimes you just never know what people don't know or don't have, or the traditions that they're not aware of. You know, for me and for a lot of people, I know when Advent rolls around, the 4 weeks before Christmas, a lot of homes have Advent wreaths on the kitchen table. And I remember when I was a kid, you kind of fight over who gets to light the candles. And, you know, 3 purple, 1 pink, just like in church. And so if you have one, that's great. You can always just sort of make your own. You can buy little votive lights. You know, they don't even have to be purple and red, but 4 of them, and maybe you could mark them with ribbon or something. But if you would like one that's kind of from a church goods store, we found kind of a pretty decent deal. I didn't bring pictures of it, but You can get 3 tapered candles that are 10 inches tall. You know, they're typical candlesticks. 3 purple, 1 pink for $3.50, but the shipping's quite a bit. So we'd probably ask you to pay like $6 or $7. Probably 7. I should just, because we don't actually want to lose money on it. It's not a money maker. And then, but they also have, I think, a very classy, very simple brass. It's like a brass ring with 4 little candle holders at the base of the ring. So nothing fancy, but those list at like $9 plus postage. So we'd probably, you know, charge like, I don't know, $13, $14, $15 for them. So anyway, we're thinking like, if you want the wreath and the candles, $20. If you want just the candles, you know, like $7. So, or maybe just the wreath, $13. So anyway, so we'll take some orders on that, maybe till the end of October. If you're interested in that, let us know for your homes, and we'll try to get word out to the RE families and the school families. Okay, icon workshop. So we had a great icon workshop. Oh, I think I'll remember to talk about that later, but what I might forget, I want to correct myself. A couple weeks ago, I don't want to seem like too much of I don't know what I'm talking about. I do watch these afterwards and make sure I didn't put my foot in my mouth too bad, or if I said something. Often I'll just find out that I'll say February instead of April or something. I just make these kind of goofy little mind breaks. I'm glad I'm not in politics. I'd be nailed to the wall for saying things, you know. And so a couple of weeks ago, I talked about all the cicadas that were making noise as I was talking. I think it was the last talk I did in front of the hibiscus flowers. So I went on and on about the cicadas, and it's their big once in every 19-year hatch, which I think is pretty accurate. Maybe it's once every 17 years. And it's this year, that's true. But I don't think they made it up to Eau Claire. That certainly wasn't what I was hearing the night of the afternoon of the chat. It was crickets. There's crickets going. And I don't know if we had the cicadas here this year. I heard them once when I was in Illinois visiting my friend Father Bob. I think maybe I mentioned all that in that chat. But anyway, I'm sorry if I misled anybody. We didn't have a big cicada hatch, as far as I know. Certainly not 2 weeks ago. Maybe earlier in the summer, but I never really heard them up here. So, but the crickets, you know, God praise the crickets. Ramblers play the crickets tomorrow night. I heard John Gettinger told me that. So that should be a good game, right? Football, Carson Park. I think Carson Park. Maybe it's away. But of course, I'll root for the Ramblers. It's our Catholic high school in town. But it's hard to root against the crickets, isn't it? It's just kind of a nice name for a school mascot, the crickets. I think it's a little Jiminy Cricket, and you know, kill the crickets. I don't know. I just can't do it. It's not in me. So anyway, that's going on. Crickets. Let's see. Speaking of that, blessing of animals. Let's do it. Let's do it on October 2nd. That'd be 2 days before the ideal date, October 4th, the feast of St. Francis. We'll talk about St. Francis in a little bit, by the way. Let's do it after school, so 3:30, and then we'll do it before RE starts, so like 6 o'clock. So last year we had a horse that Julie brought. I forget what other. So it wasn't just cats and dogs. It can be just cats and dogs. But, so we'll try to get word out in the school newsletters to parents and the RE bulletins. But so Wednesday, October 2nd, all right? October 4th is a Friday. It'd be, you know, people after school, they sometimes want to get going, you know, not hang around. But so that's good. And the other thing I messed up last week was Luke's Beatitudes. So I rattled off Matthew's Beatitudes that we may have memorized at some time in our life. I won't show off again today. You know, the poor in spirit and the peacemakers. So Luke's are different, and I wasn't planning. I kept flubbing it up. I couldn't remember. Like I knew they were like opposites, but it's like. So Luke's Beatitudes are these. Blessed are the poor. So he doesn't say poor in spirit, as I mentioned accurately last week. Blessed are the poor, and then the thing after that is, for theirs is the kingdom of God. And then it's, blessed are those who are hungry, for they will be filled. And then blessed are those who weep and mourn, for they will be comforted. And blessed are those who are insulted and persecuted by others for what they say. For they treated the prophets the same way. I think the assumption is you're saying stuff like in Matthew's Beatitudes, on account of me, Jesus says, for saying good things, for trying to be true and good when you're persecuted for that. That's how they treated the prophets, so you're not alone. A lot of good people, saints, went before you in that pattern, which is all very beautiful. It's a lot of compassion for the poor and the hungry. Hang in there. You'll get your reward. God loves you. God will not abandon you. There will be a time when you'll experience life in fullness, even though you're in a desperate state now, right? And it calls all of us to compassion, to be that presence of God that can bring goodness to their lives. And if we're going through it, to wait in hope, wait in joyful hope. But then it goes on, so it's 4. Then it says, but woe to you who are rich. And that's where I couldn't figure what all it said was, for you have already received your consolation. And it says, woe to you who are filled now, you will be hungry. Woe to you who laugh now, you will weep and cry. And woe to you when everyone speaks well of you. For that's how they treated the false prophets. So Luke's Beatitudes have more of an edge, do they not? And I think in the end the point is really that we might be in solidarity. We might not live like that parable, a sumptuous life, oblivious to the poor at our door. And not just to live for now, So so that first beatitude, woe to the rich, for you've received your consolation. It's like things are great for you now, but don't just live for now, because there's more to your life than now. So live your life in communion with God now, the God of compassion and love, who would ask you to share your strengths with the weak, your wealth with the poor, So anyway, they're strong Beatitudes, and I really kind of botched them last week, so I wanted to be clear on that. Okay. Gosh, what did I say? What did I not say? Icon workshop. So we had a great icon workshop. Drazen Dupor came up from the Madison area, and I was, and he offered me a gift when he left. I didn't participate. I tried to show up and be a cheerleader. I was very impressed with what people wrote under his direction. It was the face of Christ. And before I left, he said, Father, pick one of these icons off the shelf, because he brought a display of different icons. So this isn't an original, but this is a print of an original that he varnished and put on wood. But isn't it nice? So he gave me a choice of like 10 different ones, and this one just sort of spoke to me. It's Jesus. He knew my name was Tom, and so he said, I do have St. Thomas, and he showed it to me, and it was lovely, and I thought maybe I should take it because he's my patron saint, but I don't know. I just, this just seemed more powerful to me, so I went with this. Once you, I don't know if this kind of image appeals to you or not, but I've always, there's occasional icon that it doesn't draw me in, but to me it's so beautiful. And can you imagine just kind of being in a dark space, lighting a candle and having the flames sort of rise and meet these flames? And I look forward to praying with it in the days ahead. But what he did for the workshop is, so you don't have to be a great drawer or a freehand artist at all. So he'd give you a piece of wood all prepared with a white gesso background, and then he'd trace the image and facial features of Jesus. And it was just, his didn't have hands of Christ. It was like from here up, and that they did. And then he just kind of walk you through how to do it. And basically one of the things of how you do it, which is interesting, is you start by just filling in within the lines. The darkest color you see here would be the basic color. And then you add light. You add light to it. So you add this, and then you add that. Then you add the whites of the eyes and a little highlight like on the forehead and the nose. And it gives you that effect of like light coming out of the darkness. I think that's what makes it maybe feel instantly prayerful when we look at those things. So anyway, it was just a happy thing. And I think he's going to come back in April. He said he's willing if there's a demand. I don't know how to judge that demand, but I think those who participated we're really thrilled. Anne from our office did it, and she's super happy she did it. And her icon that she wrote under his direction is in her office. So if you're coming by, you can certainly take a good look at that. She'd be happy to show you. It's just beautiful, just beautiful. So that was good. So he's able to come back in April, and I think he would do a different subject. Like I would kind of hope he would maybe do Mary and the baby, but I heard maybe he'd be doing the angel. I think maybe he's going to build up. Before you do two figures, do one other figure, but different from Jesus. So let's see what else I got. I'm sorry, I'm trying to not slide down the hill here. Did I talk about the Advent candles? I think I did. Blessing of Animals, I talk about that. October 2nd, Wednesday, after school, 3:30, and then before our A at 6. I didn't probably say where. In the parking lot on 11th Street, so the front of church parking lot. Narcan, you know what Narcan is? It's a nasal spray. If someone's overdosed on opioids, you administer Narcan and it saves their lives. And we're gonna have a Narcan workshop on the 29th, September 29th. Someone from the public health is gonna come and show us how we can use it, and then we'll have Narcan available somewhere near church should the need arise. And we'll hear about opioids and the problem and what's going on in our community, how to recognize when it's time to run and get some Narcan, and hopefully we'll train our ushers. But if you're just curious about it, or you feel like you really need to know, like we'd love it if our ushers went to that for sure, and our staff. That'll be on September 29th. Golf outing. We're gonna have a golf outing down in Mondovi. Valley Golf, beautiful, beautiful course. Played 9 holes. I recommend you take a cart. It's very hilly, but that's why it's so beautiful. On Saturday, the 28th of September, late morning. But we kind of need to know by a week from today if you're going, so we can get some tee times. And I didn't check if it's even free. Hopefully they're not having an outing or something. But the people that run the course down there are such lovely people, and I think it'll be a great chance to get out. Hopefully a handful or more than a handful can go, and we'll have a good time, get a few groups. So golf outing, let me know, let someone on the staff know, so I can decide how many tee times to make that morning. Did I talk about OCIA already? I think so. Sherry's been doing this great job for us. When we pray for at staff, we have a group prayer, and then we have a little meeting, and she's been covering the phones for us, or if someone knocks on the door, so we can kind of do that undisturbed. Not that it's disturbing, it's a bad word, but so we can just do our thing and not have to answer the phones and things, because someone else will. And anyway, we had to change our meeting time, so it doesn't work for her. So if that appeals to anybody, give that any time from like a half hour to 2 hours, if you could offer that on a Wednesday afternoon, probably starting at 1:30. So we'd probably need you from like 1:30 till 2, and then longer if you could stay to kind of be there, and maybe do some office tasks to help Ann out as well. So anyway, that's a couple things. Honestly, I don't know what I said and what I didn't based on take 4. A couple things I want to mention, maybe kind of quickly. So it's the 800th anniversary of the Stigmata. You know what the Stigmata are? Of St. Francis. So St. Francis, 2 years before his death, went to go pray at Mount Alverno, and he saw an image of a winged angel, 6 wings and arms outstretched that way, and then the feet together as if on a cross. And then he started feeling pain. This is as recorded after interviews by Thomas Solano, like just a few years after this happened. And he had wounds developed on his hands, on his feet, and in his side. So the wounds of Christ, that's what the Stigmata are. And there's a lot of stories and tradition of miracles, and that's one that I definitely believe. St. Francis is such a hero to me. And it's like this. Someone said that it's not like a sign of. It is certainly a sign of his holiness, but it's not like to show off your holiness. It's just it's a way to experience the closeness of God, or like, especially with the Stigmata, because they're painful. They're not just like showy and like, oh good, I got these Stigmata. It's like, this hurts, but it's the wounds of Christ, and so you're kind of sharing in his suffering love for the world. And so it's a mix of pain and joy. You know, that's kind of how it was described. Painful but joyful, participating in the love of God, and the love that God offers the world. Not so much a proof of one's holiness, but a sign of God's closeness. Yeah. And he tried to hide it, like, from his brothers. He didn't want to, like, show off and stuff. But when he was buried, they all noticed and they all saw it. In one of the stories, it said that one of the brothers saw him take his shoe off and saw the wound. He goes, "What's that?" And Francis apparently said, "Mind your own business." So, you know, he didn't want to. He was pretty humble about it. They said Claire, you know, St. Claire, his companion and friend, that she made him special shoes that wouldn't hurt the wounds on his feet. So I love that, and I liked, if you ever saw the movie Francesco, Mickey Rourke, of all people, played Francis, which seems miscast, but I really liked the movie. But he was, in the story of St. Francis, he was very rigorous, and he got all these followers, and he said, "I don't want you to own anything. I don't want you to build any houses. I don't want you to have beds. I want you to live with the squirrels and just have nothing and depend on others' hospitality. And that's how I was called by the Lord. That's how I want you to live." And well, they said, "Oh, that's inhumane. We can't live like that." And he just felt so misunderstood. So it was basically kind of a coup where his followers said, "No, we need schools. We need to educate each other. We can't just live in the woods." And so they did that, and he felt like his life was being rejected, and he was in despair. This is just the movie, you know. And then he woke up one day, and he had the stigmata. And it hurt, and you could see him wince with the pain. But then he started laughing, and he says, "Deus," I'm saying this wrong, I'm sure in Latin, but "Deus me dici, God spoke to me." It's like, I'm not way off. I'm not on the wrong track, you know? I did what was mine to do, and I did it faithfully, and this is God showing me that he's drawn close, and he approves of the way I've tried to serve him, you know? It's just really a beautiful, moving scene. I was going to say a little more of that, but I guess that's good. 800 years ago, anyway, on September 14th was when that happened, on the Feast of the Exaltation of the Holy Cross. And then he died 2 years later in 2026 on October 4th, or 3rd. Last thing I just want to talk about just a little bit. So it's obviously an election year, you know, and one of the sad things that can happen is it can divide people, and friends don't talk to each other, and family members don't talk to each other. It just gets kind of nasty. And I was reading an article about that, how to try to keep the peace in the midst of that. And the guy is in a Jesuit magazine, America Magazine, and it talked about one tool that you can use from the spiritual exercise of St. Ignatius. He says it's the presumption in favor of people. It's not the same as compromising your own values and your own thoughts, your own opinions. Rather, it's the presupposition. The presupposition only demands that we recall that the person with whom we are speaking is loved by God into existence, just as we are. To presume to give someone the benefit of the doubt, to remember that they're a child of God just like I am. It reminds us that disagreements need not carry any threat beyond a difference of opinion. Then we can listen to each other. In Ignatius's word, this is my chicken scratch. Every good Christian ought to be more ready to give a favorable interpretation to another statement than to condemn it. If he cannot do so, let him ask the other how to better understand. You know, that's just this idea. Let's not just start by... It's hard though, isn't it? I mean, the stories are all over the place about how people are not getting on so well. And we just have to be very, you know, opinions are very, very strong, and these are very deep things with the politics. I was staying at staff today, you know, on November, I forget when election day is, but the day after election, half the country is going to be jubilant and half the country is going to be depressed. And how do we maintain communion in the midst of that, right? Kind of love one another. And I like this presuppose. Just remember, everybody's loved into life by God just as you are. And let's try to not be so reactive, but to be able to listen and not compromising, you know, where we're at. But maybe we learn from one another. So, okay, that's good. I think I got through it after 4 takes. I'm sure I forgot some stuff. I hope I didn't make any blatant mistakes. I think I got Luke's Beatitudes right this time, so I'll get out of the way and let you enjoy this beautiful scene. God bless. bless you all.